Welcome to Story Grove, where we share screen-free stories for kids without noisy advertisements. We hope you enjoy. I woke up and immediately knew something was wrong. Not because it was too quiet, or because my alarm didn't go off. It did. Loudly. Right in my ear. But when I swung my legs out of bed and rubbed my eyes, I noticed it. There was no shadow. My feet made prints in the carpet. My backpack sat where I'd dropped it the night before. My desk chair was tilted the same as always. But where my shadow should have been, behind me, under me, beside me, there was nothing. I checked under the lamp, stood in front of the bathroom mirror, turned in a circle like a dog chasing its tail. No shadow. I even tried jumping in front of a flashlight to see if I could catch one. Nothing. At breakfast, I asked, "Do I look weird today?" Mum glanced over her tea. "You look like someone who's forgotten to brush their hair." "Do you notice anything missing?" I asked. Dad said, "Socks." I held up my socks. Nope. They didn't notice, but I did. And I was pretty sure my shadow hadn't just disappeared. It had left. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what my teacher said last week. Light travels, but shadows stick around. Not mine. Mine had ditched me. I sat on my floor and whispered, "Why would you leave?" There was a faint shimmer in the corner of my eye, just for a second, like the air had blinked. The next morning, still no shadow. And worse, things started to go weird. My reflection wouldn't line up with my movements, it was just off. A second behind, maybe, or slower, or sometimes faster, like it was trying to get ahead of me. Doors creaked open when I got too close. My pencil rolled off my desk by itself during a spelling quiz. A plastic straw uncurled in my hand like it was nervous. Something was definitely wrong. After school, I went back to the library. The same librarian blinked at me when I asked for help again. "Still missing that shadow?" "Worse now, I think the world is mad at me." She looked at me closely, then slid a different book across the counter. This one had a glowing cover and smelled like burnt toast. It was called Chasing Echoes, a guide to shadow retrieval. I read it cover to cover in a single sitting. It said that if your shadow went on vacation, it might not come back on its own. Some shadows take a quick rest, others settle down in echo light, a pocket world where shadows go to relax, reinvent themselves, or simply hide. If I wanted mine back, I'd have to go after it, but first I needed a passage. The book said I could find one by using a mirror, a flashlight, and something deeply personal. So I gathered my flashlight, the one with glow-in-the-dark buttons, a mirror from the garage, and my favourite drawing, the one with the spaceship and the volcano and the squirrel on a rocket scooter. I set them in a triangle, turned on the light and whispered, "Take me where my shadow waits." There was a hum, then A-P-O-P. And suddenly, the carpet beneath me peeled away like paper, and I fell. Not hard, more like a feather through syrup. I landed in a world made of silver light and rippling black paths. It was quiet, the kind of quiet that made your thoughts feel too loud. Everything shimmered, everything pulsed, even the sky moved in slow swirls. A sign floated by, made entirely of string. "Welcome to Echo Light. No yelling, no racing, shadows only. Visitors must be accompanied by silence." I walked, for a long time I walked. The path curved and looped, and everything I passed seemed just a little backwards. Upside-down fountains, trees with roots on top, people-shaped shadows drifting without people attached. I asked a blob-shaped creature, "Have you seen my shadow, kinda my size, walks like me?" It blinked. "Plenty of those here." "Mine wears a hoodie." "Ooh, hoodie shadows are the hardest to convince, very moody." I asked a shadow librarian who gave me a sideways look and told me, "Try the zone of stillness." I asked a bored-looking shadow dog who just sneezed and kept floating. Eventually, I met a guide. He was tall and narrow and wore a suit made of newsprint. His name was Edwin, and he said he used to be someone's shadow before taking a spiritual detour. He said, "Shadows leave when they feel underappreciated, or tired, or if they feel like they're always tagging along." I didn't mean to ignore mine, I said. Edwin tilted his head. "Does your shadow know that?" He gave me a map sketched on the back of a math worksheet. I followed it. through the corridor of clicks where every footstep sounded like a keyboard, across the inverted meadow where grass grew from the sky and the ground was clouds, and finally to a door with no knob, only a sentence written across the frame. If your shadow was standing here, what would you say? I swallowed, then whispered, I miss you, I need you, I don't feel like myself without you. The door opened. Inside, on a couch shaped like a moonbeam, was my shadow. It looked just like me, except darker and in 2 dimensions. It had earbuds in. It glanced over as I stepped in. Nice place, I said. Thanks, said my shadow. You never let me sit down during the day. I nodded. I'm sorry. I never really thought about what you needed. There was a pause. Did you come all this way just to say that? No, I said. I came to bring you back. What if I'm not ready? What if I try anyway? Another pause, then my shadow stood up. Okay, but only if we take turns leading. Deal. We walked back together. The path was smoother this time, less crooked, more real. When I stepped back into my room, the lights flickered once, and then my shadow was there, stretching behind me, moving when I moved, leaning when I leaned. It looked a little more relaxed, and I looked a little more complete. Now I make sure we take breaks. I do slower things sometimes. We sit in the sun, we read by flashlight, and sometimes I dance like a goofball just so my shadow can laugh at me. Because shadows aren't just the dark behind you, they're part of who you are. And mine came back, because I went to find it. Thanks for listening to today's story. We hope you enjoyed it and feel calm and cozy. If you'd like more screen-free, ad-free and wholesome stories, don't forget to follow our channel. Or hop on over to our YouTube channel for even more wholesome screen-free tales. See you next time.